everyone, Father Norm again. We're continuing on in that Advent season toward Christmas. And I have with me again, he was in part of this last week and before, Jeff Lindholm, who is our seminary intern. Good to have you again.
It's great to, be back yet again.
Yeah, Jeff's stuck. He knows that the pastor, who's his supervisor, says, come do this. He smiles and says, sure.
Of course,
but I also
anything for Father.
Yes, but I know you like it anyway.
I do.
One of the things that I told Jeff, because I've been at this 49 years, is almost every year somebody comes up, sometimes a Catholic, somebody of another faith tradition, and says, what's with this Catholic thing that all during the season of December leading up, no Christmas carols are sung. Almost every other tradition and in the department stores and on the radio stations, Christmas songs are sung. It makes for 24, 25 days of December joyful spirit. And you Catholics don't sing Christmas carols. Why not? And I thought I'd throw that on to Jeffrey. This is part of his exam.
Yes, of course. But, I think it's easy to forget that, we're in the season of Advent. We're not in the liturgical season of Christmas yet. And I think, there's October and it's all about Halloween, and then all of a sudden it's all about Thanksgiving, or some, department stores jump straight to Christmas, like right. Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You is playing. And as Catholics, as we begin the new liturgical year, we're in the season called Advent, which is all about preparing our hearts for the Lord, right? And not just preparing our hearts for the coming of Jesus, in the manger, Bethlehem, and all the shepherds sing glory to God in the highest, but Jesus' second coming as well. This is a full-blown liturgical season that we're preparing ourselves, and we're called to reflect not only on the incarnation, right? God become human, Emmanuel, God with us in this beautiful, radical way where God becomes fully dependent on other human beings. But we're also called to reflect on the second coming of Jesus. What if Jesus came back today? Where would we stand? Where's our heart? And we're called to really reflect, well, where's our heart this season? Where's Jesus in that? And yes, we're preparing for Christmas and Jesus and the coming of the Lord, but it's also all about all this. I call it like heart work. Like, if you go to the gym, it's all about like, oh, today's back day, today's leg day, today's cardio day. Well, Advent's sort of like, the work of the heart. Like, where's your heart this season? And the music that we sing is sort of focused on that. So, the most famous, I think, Advent song is O Come, Emmanuel. And yeah, that's about, the baby Jesus and the nativity and adoring him, but it's also like, Emmanuel, come alive in my heart. God be with me. God be with me and my family in my heart. And asking, how can I be one with him in that as we prepare for Christmas, right? And then we rejoice on, either Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, like the Savior has come. And then that music reflects that.
Yeah. It's funny, I think of a personal experience sometimes I've shared with people. Many of you know that I didn't become Catholic till I was in college. And for that matter, it was in college through the Catholic faith that I come to a real encounter with Jesus and a sense of fundamentally being Christian. But I remember that it was in those years, I was taking instructions. They didn't have any other kind of way to become Catholic. A priest usually talked to you. Took that in the fall, and then I was coming in at Christmas time. My very first Mass and receiving communion was Christmas Eve. Well, it was actually Christmas Day it was at 12 midnight, but my freshman year at the University of Akron, the very first time I received communion. And in the Catholic tradition, a belief that there's a real presence of Jesus in that communion and in the community that gathered around with me. But the first time was Christmas. And I remember those weeks leading up, I was so yearning, so looking forward to it, so longing for receiving Christ and being part of the community in that very special way. And so that reminded me, and I tell people of that. I experienced an Advent in my life, and then it made sense, and I'd share it with other people. Yeah, to be in touch with a longing. Too often we want immediate gratification, and hey, a yearning for a richer, deeper, fuller sense of you, Lord. Even the Christmas story helping me to have a deeper sense of your real presence in me and in us. And I'll always remember that because that was so memorable. And usually every Advent, and especially leading to Mass, even if it's not at midnight, it's at 10 p.m., that I go back to that time. Gosh, I can't even tell you how many, 57 years ago, I guess, that first Advent.
Yeah.